My roommate kicked back on the couch, scrolled through her phone, and yawned. Since you make more money, you should cover more of the rent. It's only fair. When I refused, she sneered. If you say no, then you're a terrible friend. I stood up, held out a new lease agreement, and said, actually, you're the one who needs a new place to live. 33 female, live in Denver, Colorado, and have been sharing a 2-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill with my roommate, Rachel, 31 female, for the past year. We initially agreed to split rent and utilities evenly. However, over time, Rachel began to slack off on her responsibilities. She stopped cleaning, left dishes piled up, and often played loud music late into the night. Despite multiple conversations, nothing changed. One afternoon, as I was working from home, Rachel sprawled on the couch, scrolling through her phone. Without looking up, she said, since you make more money, you should cover more of the rent. It's only fair. I was taken aback. I replied, we agreed to split everything equally. My income doesn't change our agreement. She sneered, if you say no, then you're a terrible friend. I stood up, went to my room, and returned with a new lease agreement. I handed it to her and said, actually, you're the one who needs a new place to live. I had already spoken to our landlord and arranged to have her removed from the lease. She had 30 days to move out. Rachel was furious. She accused me of being heartless and tried to rally our mutual friends against me. She left messes everywhere, blasted music at all hours, and even tried to sabotage my work by disconnecting the internet. I documented everything and kept our landlord informed. Eventually, she moved out, leaving behind a trashed room and unpaid utility bills. I learned a valuable lesson about setting boundaries and standing up for myself. Living alone now, I enjoy the peace and have adopted a rescue dog named Max. My apartment is finally a sanctuary again. Things didn't get better after she moved out. Actually, they got worse. 2 weeks after Rachel left, I started getting weird mail. Catalogs I never signed up for. Flyers for luxury cars and random credit cards. I didn't think much of it at first, just spam. But then I got a letter from a furniture rental company thanking me for my recent application. That's when I knew something was off. I called the company. They told me someone had tried to open a credit account under my name, using my address. The name on the application? Rachel's email, but my name and social. I was frozen. I called the credit bureaus and locked down everything. Then I filed a report with the police. I texted Rachel and asked if she had any idea what was going on. Her only reply? Guess karma's real, huh? I didn't respond. I thought it would stop after that, but I was wrong. A week later, someone egged my car. Not just once. 3 times in 1 week. My tires were slashed once. The building had no cameras, but I knew in my gut it was her. One night, I heard someone outside my window. I live on the ground floor, and it was just past midnight. I froze, grabbed my phone, and peeked out. Couldn't see much, but there was definitely someone there, standing just outside the frame of the streetlight. I called the cops. By the time they got there, no one was around. They took a report, but with no cameras and no one caught in the act, it didn't go anywhere. I told my landlord everything and begged him to let me break the lease. Thankfully, he agreed. Said he didn't want trouble either. Within a week, I found a new apartment in Lakewood. It was smaller, more expensive, but felt safer. Or so I thought. 2 days after moving in, a package showed up at my door. No return address. Inside was a single flip-flop. Used. Dirty. On the sole, written in red Sharpie, you always leave something behind. I sat on the kitchen floor and cried. Not because of the flip-flop, but because I felt like I was being hunted by a ghost. I didn't know how far she'd go. I considered getting a restraining order, but without solid proof, I was told it wouldn't hold. So I bought cameras. I bought pepper spray. I started looking over my shoulder. My dog, Max, started acting strange. He'd bark at the door even when no one was there. He'd whine and pace in the middle of the night. Once, he refused to go near the window. I checked, but again, nothing there. I changed my number, deleted social media, told all our mutual friends I didn't want contact with her, and if anyone tried to give her my new address or number, they'd be cut off too. Things went quiet for about a month. I started to relax. I started to breathe. Then I got the email. It was from a burner address. No name. Just a video file. I almost didn't open it. When I did, I wished I hadn't. It was a video of me, sleeping, in my new apartment. The camera angle was from outside my window. Zoomed in. I could hear Max snoring. I could hear my own breathing. Then, at the end, just before it cut to black, there was a whisper. "Still think you're safe?" My blood ran cold. I forwarded it to the cops. They said they'd open an investigation. I bought blackout curtains the same day. Slept with the lights on for a week. I started asking myself how far this would go. Would she stop at harassment? Or was she leading up to something worse? Then, I made a mistake. I decided to fight back. I didn't do anything crazy. Not at first. I just decided to stop being afraid. I started keeping a journal of everything. Every package. Every noise. Every weird email. I printed them all out. Screenshots. Photos. I even recorded audio of Max barking at odd hours. I wanted a file thick enough that no one could say I was imagining it. Because if this ever went to court, I'd need everything. One night, I got bold. I parked down the street and waited in my car with the lights off. I wanted to see if anyone came near my windows again. It was cold, and I was tired, but I sat there from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. At 1:47, I saw a figure come out of the shadows near the alley. Small frame. Hoodie. Hands in pockets. They walked up to my window. Looked around. Leaned forward. They didn't see me watching. They didn't know I had my phone camera on. Then they vanished into the dark. I took the video straight to the police the next morning. I finally had something. A face. Not clear, but it was enough to show I wasn't making it up. The officer didn't say much, just nodded and said they'd add it to the file. Still, no arrests. No protection. I decided to hire a private investigator. His name was Frank. Older guy. Used to work with Denver PD. He took the case seriously, which was more than I could say for the cops. Within a week, Frank came back with something wild. Rachel wasn't working a job anymore. In fact, she had been evicted from her next place just 2 weeks after moving out of our shared apartment. Non-payment of rent. According to Frank, she was couch surfing. Staying with random people, sometimes strangers she met online. That didn't surprise me. What did surprise me? One of those people filed a report against her for identity theft. Same pattern. She applied for a car loan under their name. Got caught when the dealership ran a credit check and flagged it. I told Frank about the flip-flop package and the video. He shook his head and said, "This isn't just petty revenge. She's unraveling." That word stuck with me. Unraveling. But Frank had more. He found out Rachel had been in a psych ward once, years ago. It wasn't on record unless you knew what to look for. Apparently, she had a breakdown in her 20s after being fired from a job. There were reports of paranoid behavior, believing coworkers were spying on her. I didn't know any of this when we were roommates. It started to make sense. Not just the messiness or entitlement, but the complete lack of boundaries. The obsession. A few days later, Frank called me at 6 a.m. "I think you should see this," he said. He sent me a screenshot from a Reddit thread. It was under a throwaway account. A long post. The title? "My ex-roommate is trying to destroy me because I asked her to pay more rent." It was a twisted version of the truth. Rachel had flipped the story. According to her, I was the unstable one. I kicked her out on the street because I was jealous of her success. She said I was obsessed with control and mentally abusive. The post had over 2,000 upvotes. A bunch of angry replies defending her, offering to send her money, even inviting her to stay with them. I was shaking. People believed her. She was building a new life off lies and dragging my name through the dirt to do it. I didn't respond publicly. I didn't comment. I just saved everything. That's when the second twist hit. Frank found a burner phone number Rachel had used to text one of her old landlords. He traced it to a prepaid SIM card purchased 2 weeks before the first package showed up at my door. The address on the purchase? A gas station less than a mile from my new apartment. She had been watching me from the very beginning. It wasn't random. It wasn't just revenge. It was something else. I moved fast after that. I filed for a restraining order again, this time with everything: Frank's report, the video, the online post, the screenshots of her trying to open accounts in my name. It finally stuck. The judge granted it. Temporary at first, but it was something. Rachel couldn't come within 500 feet of me or contact me in any way. I felt relief for the first time in months. But it wasn't over. About 3 weeks later, a detective called. Someone matching Rachel's description had been picked up trying to rent a motel room using a fake ID. The ID had my name on it. She was carrying a backpack with documents that included a folder with my old lease, old mail with my name, a notepad full of scribbles, my name written over and over. There was also a folded-up photo of me and Max, one I'd posted on Instagram years ago. She didn't get bail. Too many prior flags. They finally charged her with identity theft, stalking, and violation of a restraining order. Her public defender tried to play the mental health card. Said she needed help, not prison. They weren't wrong about the help part. She needed it badly. But I wasn't in a forgiving mood. I sent the court everything. Every email. Every package. The flip-flop. The audio. The Reddit post. The PI's report. I stood up in court and spoke clearly. I am not the villain in her story. I just wanted to live in peace. The judge agreed. She got sentenced to a year in a psychiatric detention facility with mandatory treatment and 3 years of probation afterward. She can't contact me again for 5 years, by court order. But here's where I have to admit something. I didn't walk away clean. Because after the sentencing, I did something I'm not proud of. I made my own Reddit post. I didn't name her. I didn't use my real account, but I posted every bit of the truth with receipts, the screenshots, the video stills, the twisted Reddit story she wrote. I even linked public court documents. I told it all, and I watched. Her post disappeared in less than a day. And in its place, I saw people posting about how they'd been catfished or lied to by someone similar. A few figured it out. A few others said, "This sounds like that story from last month," and the truth started unraveling. Her fake support vanished fast. I got messages from people who apologized for believing her. A few begged me to forgive her. I didn't respond. A part of me wanted to feel big about it. Wanted to feel powerful, like I'd finally won. But honestly, I just felt tired. Heavy. I learned the hard way that people can wear a mask for a long time, and you never really know what's underneath until it's too late. Maybe I should have seen the red flags earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let it get so far. Maybe I pushed too hard when she started falling apart. But none of that excuses what she did. None of that changes the damage. I still jump when the doorbell rings. I still check over my shoulder when I walk to my car. Max still growls at the window some nights. I sleep with a bat next to my bed now. I probably always will. She lost her mind. And I lost my peace. Revenge doesn't feel like a win. It feels like cleanup after a storm you didn't start. It feels like standing in the ashes, pointing at the match someone else lit, and saying, "See? Told you." In the end, maybe we both lost. But I'm still here. And she's not.